Jai Hind everyone. So last কিছুদিনৰ পৰা আমি এটা নিউজ শুনি আছো that কি এটা major airbase that is known as the Lalmonirhat. সেইটো airbase-টো আছে around 20 kilometers from the chicken neck corridor, around 20 kilometers. So why it is so important? Moreover, আমাৰ এই chicken neck corridor নিউজটো last কেইমাহমানৰ পৰা বাৰে বাৰে আহি আছে. First time এইটো আহিছিলে when like Mohammad Yunus, who is the in charge of Bangladesh or who is also known as the advisor. So তেওঁ চাইনাত গৈ এটা ষ্টেটমেণ্ট দিছিলে অন দ্য চিকেন নেক কৰিডৰ অফ ইণ্ডিয়া। ছেকেণ্ডলি তাৰপিছত কি হ'ল কি লাষ্ট এসপ্তাহ দুসপ্তাহৰ আগতে most of the major news channels কভাৰ কৰিছিলে যে China has invested close to around 1,000 crores, okay, to revive this very old airbase of north of Bangladesh, that is Lalmonirhat Airbase, which has got a huge strategic importance, and it's an old airbase from the almost from the World War II era. Thirdly, কি হ'ল কি এইটো সময়ত যেতিয়া আমাৰ এই চিকেন নেকৰ কথা ওলাই আছিলে, ইনফেক্ট কালি আমাৰ মুখ্যমন্ত্ৰীও এটা টুইট দিলে ইন ৰিটেলিয়েশ্যন টু দ্য চিকেন নেক কৰিডৰ। ইনফেক্ট বাংলাদেশৰো দুটা চিকেন নেক আছে, এটা অন দ্য নৰ্থ ডেট ইজ এৰাউণ্ড 80 kilometers and on the south that is close to Tripura, which is around 20 kilometers, in retaliation to the chicken neck corridor news given by Bangladesh. So let's first understand what is this Lalmonirhat airbase to ki ক'ত আছে, what is this historical and strategic significance. So let's look at the map. ক'ত আছে আমাৰ, what is this Lalmonirhat? So this is the Lalmonirhat. এইটো এইটো নৰ্থ অফ দেখিছে, এইটো নৰ্থ অফ হেৰিত আছে। তাৰ পৰা ইফ ইউ কিপ গোয়িং আপ, চ' এইটো আমাৰ হাশিমাৰা আছে। চ' দিছ ইজ আৱাৰ হাশিমাৰা হুইচ ইজ আনাদাৰ এয়াৰফ'ৰ্চ বেছ। লেফ্ট হেণ্ড চাইডে আমাৰ বাগডোগৰা আছে, শিলিগুৰি আছে, বাগডোগৰা এয়াৰফ'ৰ্চ ষ্টেচন আছে। নৰ্থত আমাৰ সুখনা মিলিটাৰী ক'ৰ হেডকোৱাৰ্টাৰ আছে। এণ্ড ইফ ইউ গ' লেফ্টত আমাৰ পূৰ্ণিয়া আছে হুইচ ইজ ইন ৱেষ্ট বেংগল। এণ্ড ইফ ইউ কিপ গোয়িং আপ, এইটো দেখিছে দিছ ইজ known as the finger, which is again part of China. লেফ্ট হেণ্ড চাইডে আমাৰ ছিকিম আছে, ৰাইট হেণ্ড চাইডে ভূটান আছে। And this finger is very close to this Lalmonirhat or to the আমাৰ Siliguri corridor. Right hand side again আমি অকল চাওঁ গুৱাহাটী আছে, তেজপুৰ আছে, আৰু so all this a lot of Shillong আছে, in fact Shillong আছে. So Lalmonirhat is a very huge strategic importance because it is for its proximity to this Siliguri corridor. So Lalmonirhat airbase, it spans approximately around 1166 acres and 4-kilometer runway. So in terms of like takeoff and landing, 4-kilometer runway is a huge runway. In fact, Lalmonirhat is the longest and the biggest airfield of entire India and is the second biggest or the second largest of Asia. But most problematic is that it's only 10-20 kilometers from the Siliguri corridor due to বহুত কম proximity আছে আমাৰ chicken neck to sort, and it has got a huge historical and strategic importance also. Historical because World War II era it was used by the Allied forces. Secondly, it has strategic importance যেটো মই অলপতে দেখালো তোমাৰ এই map to because of its location. Such close proximity আৰু আমাৰ ইমান station আছে, air force stations, army stations, and the most importantly entire logistics like the entire roadways, railway lines which passes through the chicken neck corridor. This will raise a huge security concern for India. Let's look at its origin and the World War II significance. Basically, it was established in 1931 by the British colonial administration. এইটো যেতিয়া আমাৰ Allied and the Axis forces মাজত war হৈছিলে, Japanese forces had come on close to Burma. So this was used as a major forward operating base, logistics wise, military wise. In fact, a lot of fighter flying also হৈছিলে ইয়াত এই বেছৰ পৰা. In fact, the entire Japanese campaign into Burma campaign হৈছিলে from the Japan was fought from this airbase itself. So that is the historical significance of the Lalmonirhat airbase. Now coming from the pre-war scenario to the post-war, 1947 আমাৰ independence হ'ল. So this Lalmonirhat went to Pakistan. So it was part of the East Pakistan. So they are not in news for almost like 10-11 years. In 1958 they started opening up, mostly not for military purposes but a civil aviation start কৰিছিলে এইটোৰ পৰা. But because there was very less demand, so সেইকাৰণে অলপ দিন অপাৰেট কৰি এইটো আকৌ বন্ধ হৈ গ'ল। Again 1971 আহিলে, liberation of Bangladesh হ'ল. Now after liberation, after 1971, Bangladesh's Air Force thought they will start this as their Air Force, Bangladesh Air Force headquarters. But hetu noholge, they had again moved to Dhaka. Bangladesh Air Force headquarters moved to Dhaka. And it was all lying dormant throughout all these periods until recently when we heard the news that China wants to revive this, or Bangladesh wants to revive this with the support of China. Is it going to be a military or any other establishment? We are not sure as of now, but there have been a lot of reports coming from a lot of news channels and the newspapers that China is investing hugely, upwards of 1,000 crores to revive this Lalmonirhat Airbase. Now let's talk about a little bit of China. China, তাহাঁতৰ mainly তেওঁলোকৰ দুটা main project আছে. One that of course তেওঁলোকৰ long term goal is to have the total influence over this entire Asian region. That is both military influence, military dominance, and economic influence or economic control over this entire Asian region. So main one project is their BRI project, which is known as the Belt and Road Initiative. যিটো আন্ডাৰত তেওঁলোকে CPEC-টো start কৰিছিলে, which is connecting like China to up till Gadar port. And the same way they want to revive this Lalmonirhat so that they can connect directly, have a connection with the Bay of Bengal. Second project to তেওঁলোকৰ হৈছে, which is known as the String of Pearls strategy. It again, they want to have a control or the commercial control or the military control over the entire sea route. And they are trying to establish this by developing, investing in various ports in various countries. They're connecting from their South China Sea to up till the north, Horn of Africa বুলি কয়. তেওঁলোকে বহুত ports এনেকৈ develop কৰিছিল, such as like Myanmar and Cambodia, Hambantota যোনটো আছিলে হেৰিত, এইটো কি বুলি কয়, Sri Lanka, Gwadar port to Pakistan had to revive কৰিলে. Then they went up till Kenya, Horn of Africa. Also, তেওঁলোকৰ এই project asile Bay of Bengal, so that they can complete the String of Pearls and they can have complete dominance or complete influence over the entire land as well as the sea routes for their economic and military dominance. Now, এইটো Lalmonirhat যোনটো base to তেওঁলোকে যদি revive কৰে, their long term goal is to use it as a strategic base. Because কিহৰ কাৰণে? Because with this base, তেওঁলোক have an air control or the air strategic control over the entire region. Over this entire region, that is especially the northeastern region. Secondly, they will have, from the economic point of view, they will have a direct connection up till the Bay of Bengal. Another important thing is that the security concern is mostly on the western side. So all these assets and all our doctrines are made for the mainly concerning the Pakistan corridor. Secondly, on the recent times, they have also normal Junbur doctrines are said, they have also got into the two-front war. If in case we have a two-sided war at the same time, that means between Pakistan and China at the same time. But again, আপোনালোকে চাইনাক যদি চাই আৰু India is at a huge strategic advantage because of the Himalayas and also the Tibetan plateau, which is after the Himalayas. Because the Tibetan plateau কি আছে, it's at a height. So height of থাকিলে কি হয়, normally all their fighter aircraft, okay, because তেওঁলোকৰ load carrying capacity to বহুত reduce হৈ যায়. So normally if you see the China, none of their airfields are mostly in the Tibetan plateau, mostly তেওঁলোকৰ mainland আছে. So this is a huge strategic advantage for us militarily. Of course, আজিকালি like you have got beyond visual range missile, surface to surface missile, which has got huge ranges. That is a different kind of warfare from the airport point of view. But once you open this airfield, that is the Lalmonirhat, this strategic advantage will be lost by India, because etu ami তেওঁলোকে যদি খুলি দিয়ে, it can be, China can have an indirect control over the entire Indian airspace, especially to the eastern side of India. So India, along with the two-front war or the China and the Pakistan doctrine, they will also have to make a new doctrine on this concerning the Bangladesh, especially with respect to the Lalmonirhat Airbase. The opening of this airbase, they can have the entire surveillance and monitoring of the airspace, which will cause a huge security imbalance for the entire region. Thirdly, আমাৰ again যিটো মই কৈছো, the chicken neck, which is a lifeline, connects the northeastern India to the rest of the mainland India. In case sometime there is some adversary situation happens between India and China and Bangladesh supports China, so this will pose a huge threat to the entire northeastern states of India. Finally, again, because of this, as I said initially, we used to, our entire military expansion, buying of arms, buying of aircraft, buying of air defense are mostly concentrated, mostly 70-80% on the western frontier and few on the on the China sector. Now, because of this will lead to huge regional instability in terms of security, and this will also lead to huge increase in the arms race. So considering all this, news has also come up. There is an airport named as the Kailashahar Airport in Tripura, close to Dharmanagar, close to Agartala. So এইটো একদম 1971 warতে last use হোৱা হৈছিলে, and the Indian government wants to revive this in retaliation to the Lalmonirhat Airbase. So this is let's check out the map. So this is, I'm just zooming it. So this is Dharmanagar. So this is Dharmanagar. So further, so this is the Kailashahar airfield, which the Airport Authority of India wants to revive it, and but it is to be seen what they want to use it for, whether it is for civil aviation or whether it is for like military establishments. Finally, to conclude, for India, this growing partnership between China and Bangladesh is a huge cause of concern, and it is for time to tell what lies ahead and how India is going to retaliate this and balance this out. From the Bangladesh point of view, with the new government coming, they are closing up to China, because the previous government was close to the Indian government and did not have much concerns. But the new government are getting into a lot of treaties with the Chinese government in terms of river development, military procurements, airfield developments, naval dockyard development, shipbuilding development. All this, lot of economic contracts are being carried out between Bangladesh and China. But it has to be seen how Bangladesh does not provoke, or it does not cause a regional instability for the security environment of this region. And for Chinese perspective, China wants to become the leader. They want to have a greater influence in terms of economic and also military dominance. Therefore, it has started funding a lot of countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh, even Sri Lanka. They've developed a lot of ports. They've invested hugely over there. But the point is that this Chinese influence should not provoke India. So let's see how it unfolds, what lies ahead. Till then, Jai Hind.